ready.
The commander comes back from a meeting and says, we need to conduct a diversion. On enthusiasm, we sprint and fly into the trench. First grenades go. But if something goes wrong, my call sign is academic. I'm Opir. My call sign is Mazik. My call sign is Apollon. My name is Shepard. At the time of the assault actions, I was a scout in the reconnaissance company. Academic was the company commander. Opir was the machine gunner. I held the position of senior combat medic in a separate recon company. One of the key elements already carrying out combat tasks at that time was the recon platoon. They decided to form a company out of it, and I was offered to lead it. I found out they'd already created a recon company while I was in Donbass, so I asked to join them. I got transferred, and as for picking a role, it was obvious, because there aren't that many people who can use a PKM machine gun competently and at a solid level, so they kept me as the machine gunner. For a very long period, we were on training grounds, preparing for the tasks that would be assigned to us. Because as we know, reconnaissance units were the first to enter combat, since at that moment, they were the most prepared. And they had that combat training that, in our army back then, wasn't being cut. The simpler, the better, that's it. Everything is simple. Same here. You learn one thing once, and then you drill it till you're blue in the face. Go.
Тепер ускладнюємо задачу.
You get what he's saying? Hold that line. Good afternoon. Empty. Ready. They trained us constantly. Day, night sorties. Hikes through the forest. In full kit. Constant and intense training. The company commander's attitude back then was like this. You propose a training idea for the personnel, and if it was a reasonable idea, you were given full freedom and told to go for it. And then that gives positive results during combat operations. Time passes. We train on the ranges. It's already 2023, around May, June. We head out for rotation. We went and pumped, motivated, because we were confident. They trained us. We were ready. There wasn't fear or anything like that. Basically, our first combat sorties and our specialty, meaning foot recon, in a small group. The task was mostly to get close and assess the situation, maybe identify exactly where the enemy positions were. Thankfully, all those sorties ended successfully. No fire contact, and tasks completed. They weren't that significant, but they let us season the personnel, so they gained specific experience. And I also had Mavic crews back then, and FPV. It wasn't very developed yet, but the guys were already valued. FPVs were a headache too. Try telling someone about Radio Horizon. Nobody understood then how to work with it, how to give directions. It was a pain in the ass. But over time, it more or less settled down. The guys got their hands in with the Mavic because it was, let's say, the know-how of our war that was already planting the seed of what we have today. We handled those pinpoint ops, and then one fine moment, I was at the command observation post with the battalion commander, and there was a task that preliminarily, possibly, maybe, actually not maybe, had to be, conducted actions to improve our position. We flew over basically everything from every angle we could. Shot video, drew up a plan of that position. At that moment, we had enough prep time. That sector of the front allowed it. There were no meeting engagements, no rapid actions needed for yesterday. We studied our sector in detail and offered the battalion commander a solution. He gave the green light, and surprisingly, for today's realities, they gave us enough time to prepare. Up to 2 weeks. We trained hard, morning till evening. We didn't crawl out of the range. Back then, the training was ran by Shepard, Oper, academic. Huge thanks for that. The training was powerful, real hardcore, with simulations, with combat work simulations.
Контролем сектор. Ждем. Контролю. Внимание, движение. Рух. Поворот налево. Поворот налево.
They took the stage of preparing the personnel for the specific task very responsibly.
Первая закрепилась, вторая группа движения. Рух. Иду. Оружие на предохранитель.
So basically, we were on the range. Went there to shoot. Lots of people were there. Other brigades came too. We were standing on the firing line, blasting away, sending it. And then someone from far away starts yelling air. Honestly, the first time I got under that kind of strike, if you could even call it that. And right then, in one go, they start covering us in a line with cluster munitions. We all started running. There was GoPro video too. Once it started hammering the whole range, we started hauling ass, running out of that range. We ran downhill. While I was running, well, it's on the video. It would be wildest because I just fell and that's it. But really, it was serious. Like serious, for real. I'm just running and I see this needle, maybe 50 to 100 meters, falling in front of us. I'm like, boom, hit the deck, see it fall, didn't explode. I jumped up and ran on. But there were two options. Either I just psych myself out, or just knock me down a notch. I just dropped fast. I just laid down gently. All good, all fine. I'm back to planning. Academic did it right. First he asked every team member's opinion. What I liked is, as the person responsible for medical support, there's this concept of medical recon. Basically, he said, this is your responsibility. So you need to set it up so everything works. So if there's a casualty, everything is configured and ready. And it worked like that at every stage. For example, Oprah was the machine gunner then, and he gave ideas. We asked his opinion, and he gave thoughts that strongly influenced the assault result. So, everyone contributed something, and we molded it into a plan that ended up working. The first move out to that position was a foot recon, and there we ran into mine obstacles. Everything was seated with PPMs and pedals, and we saw that just walking through, on luck, was almost unreal. Literally, in the evening, the commander comes back from a meeting and says, "We need to conduct a diversion." The decision was taken to clear a passage before the assault, lay charges, detonate remotely, make ourselves a way into the trenches. We moved on foot in MVGs to the point where we met the engineers. Then we moved to the endpoint of Rach, our position. On the first light, we moved. Barber went first then. We agreed he goes first, and I closed. We reached the point where the PPMs were scattered and in place to charge. Pulled back as far as the field wire allowed. I report to academic that we're ready. That's it, we blew it. Boom. That was specific. Good one. Then we returned to base. That non-directional mine blasted a corridor and an approach to the position through the mine obstacles. The task we pursued was to identify how many enemy fire assets they could allocate to cover the position and how long their aiming would take, so we'd know the timing and how much time we'd need to get in. We prepped, and the task was this. Work that machine gun nest on enthusiasm. We sprint and fly into the trench. First grenades go. Then we start entering and working in pairs. One pair goes left. That was Barber and Shepard. I covered from above as fire support. And Maxim and Rostik were to go to the right flank. So we immediately cleared and moved toward the main direction where we observed them. Because there was a machine gun nest and a bit to the right another dugout where they later holed up, and we were eating Venezia sausage with our canned meat.
Я сам.
Туда, котов.
Закидай прямо вниз.
Налево?
Вона уходить туди. Кидай прямо. Я зайду потім. Кидай туди. Плюс.
By standard, Barber went first and controlled the dugout entrance, and I was number 2 and tossed in a grenade. Then he finished off the wounded inside.
Go. Чесно.
When they already got into the first trench, that's when I also pulled up, dug in as number 3 on the right, where Roma was number 1, Shepherd number 2, and I number 3. On the left, Barber worked, cleared the observation post, and Academic held the passage. There was a fork, so they held the left side if you looked that way, and we went right.
Командир, надо дальше двигаться. Долго шли. Рома, пошли. Пошли, контроль. И прямо. Водя на контроль.
We had one small moment. We didn't really account for time, and all our actions were a bit delayed. And the enemy woke up when we started approaching the machine gun nest, working it, throwing grenades. That with the machine gun, the senior on the position worked Rostik. And all I remember while covering and pouring it in there, Commander, I'm wounded. That f***ing hit me. It made itself known. I'm just getting up, and I hear. I was like, I didn't get it. I wanted to clamp down my rifle to return fire. And I feel I can't shoot. Felt like my arm was behind my back. I look right. Oh, where's my arm? I try to shrug. Saw it was hanging. I'm like, oh shit. Straight up. Why, I respect Apollon. The wounds were serious, but the guy didn't quit. Calm, no panic, no screaming. He started crawling back towards ours by himself, to where Barber and Academic were. Academic stayed up by a tree, covering the upper level of the trench. They started dragging Apollon out, and at that moment, I already had a grenade ready and tossed it right into the dugout. And we started going into the dugout. And I had a misfire. I tucked behind the corner before the entrance to the dugout. I didn't hear that the surviving tossed a grenade. And when I leaned out to clear the dugout, the grenade detonated, literally near my head. The goggles saved me.
Фотка б, наверное, не передала б. Тут 3 отметини від уламків. Проплавило чуть-чуть стекло, но не насквозь.
I still have fragments in my earplugs. There was ballistic protection on the shoulders too. And, you know, plus minus, gear saved me. And basically, that's where our recon by fire ended, because 2 people were wounded, and Academic made the right call to break contact.
Надо МК, 2300, МК. Я тоже 300.
I understand that out of 5 of us, only 4 have left. We could push with 4, but if something goes wrong, we might not get out of the trenches at all. We didn't want that. Me, as a commander, first of all, I had to bring all the guys back home.
Андрюха, витягуємося,
Що?
витягуємося,
Оттягиваемся?
допомагай, витягуємося назад. Давай, давай. Мене прикрийте.
Авария, авария.
Блядь, аварія!
Кройте, кройте, кройте. Парни, дайте прикрыть. Есть контакт прям. Блядь, сука. Ой, стоп, побежал.
А?
Там бегал. Сука.
Прикрий, прикрий! Надо виносить. Прикрий.
Сейчас я перезаряжаюсь, стой.
Поможи на правому так, поможи на правому.
Готов,
Давай,
готов.
автомат.
Давай, 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 движение.
Давай, автомат захвати, автомат.
I only saw there was heavy bleeding from my arm and something on my leg, but it wasn't flowing much. Then I suddenly felt a massive drop in strength. We're walking and the road feels so heavy, so long, and the tree line is so thick.
Попер, что у него? Рука?
Андрюха, його змот на ногах. Андрюха, ти, будь ласка.
Все, сейчас это.
I didn't feel leg pain then. The arm hurt more. Because you walk and branches catch it, it's dangling, and I'm thinking, I was the first wounded. It pissed me off.
Подожди, стой, стой, стой. Садись, садись потихоньку. Принимай снизу, принимай снизу. Снизу принимай опер. Турникет, не там, перебегай.
Перескакуй. Андрюха, быстрее.
Принимаем. Принял. Так, я вам осторожно. Опер снизу принимай.
Я слушаюсь.
I was still moving on my own through the trench, through Hrach. I reached cover on my own legs. And then I sat down. Battalion medics started working on me. And once I sat, I couldn't stand back up. I saw they put a tourniquet on my leg right away and said, "You've got blood coming from your head too." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Then look what's there. Takes off my helmet and says, "Not much, just grazed." Okay, I say, "Wrap it." They wrap my head a bit. And my arm? I couldn't feel my arm at all. Couldn't even move my fingers. And by the way, we assaulted on my birthday. Academic says, "You've ditched the cake for the second year already." I'm like, what can I do? I didn't do it on purpose. And then we started evacuating Rostik. Senator from the battalion came in. The battalion commander sent him. We quickly loaded Rostik. And then we rolled out in pairs. That's how our recon by fire went. First in my life as a commander, with wounded in that op. Then we found out what hit him. It was his birthday too. He had a stitch tourniquet around the waist area, and a machine gun round hit the tourniquet, ricocheted off the windlass, and went not into the pelvis, which could have been much worse, but into the thigh. Also hit his arm, broke the bone, and hit his helmet too. And the funny thing is, it was fashionable then. Helmets without ear covers, plus tactical headphones. these tactical guys. And it hit the cutout of the stamp on the top rail and got stuck there. 762. Honestly, I think he was born in a shirt. Was born lucky. He got very lucky with the wound pattern, because it could have been much worse, especially considering the caliber. When it all ended, of course, we were kind of fucking stunned, but it was his birthday, and I even hesitated whether to take him or not. He was persistent. Everyone wanted it. Nobody had participated in something like that, and we got our first experience like this. Taking into account all the shortcomings of that op, we already knew how they were set up, how many guns were watching their sectors. We analyzed what and how went wrong and how it should be, accounting for withdrawal options, where the enemy moves in. I made sketches of how I saw it. But any operation, any action, everyone in it has to know their place at every stage. With specifics, who stands by which tree, what he does, and even in the worst case, most scenario, he has to understand what happens. I remember writing the combat log then, and for the first time consciously, not on enthusiasm, I wrote, in case of my death, Shepard takes command of all this. And on the 30th, 2 days later, we were ready, to beat the out of them for Rustic. We named the op after his call sign, Apollon.
Що ви вже готові бачити? Да.
Що телефон вивіз?
Іди сюди. Зараз прилітає дрон, його група і ваша. Зразу виходите туди на великий проход. Туди на великий проход. Я вас заведуся. Я тобі перший. Так, хорошо, покажеш, вас проведуть, і я звідти тут вправо. І як чуєте, тільки, блядь, що працює пулемет, блядь, і ГПшка, сразу нахуй рибку.
Ми робили рибком 2 групи сюди до окопа. Ви наліво, ти наталі.
Тільки дивіться, сука, обережно під ногу, нахуй. Опоненти збоку прям лежать, щоб ви, блядь, не в'їбали, нахуй, відставлені. Сугубо по тропі, а не так, сугубо. Тропа широка, пройти її.
Overall, you can say that what was planned is basically what got done. Preparation paid off. It started with the signal to begin, detonating mons that cleared a passage through the minefield. For this assault, they set 2 mons, opening 2 corridors. The plan was 2 corridors, and detonated them right before the assault. We came to the group assembly point, and then detonated these mons. But basically, one didn't work, like they say. The plan is fucking great until the first shot. 1 corridor was enough, but the one thing, it didn't clear all the mines. Didn't detonate them all. And that later had consequences. Then the fire support group, where I was, opened suppressive fire. Our job was to suppress the enemy machine gunner, who was also the senior at that point. Our job was to suppress him, so he couldn't control the defense properly. The first group went, then in the center, Opa and Academic went, I went with them. I took a single-shot grenade launcher, but I didn't remember it for shit. I got a bit lost, and I never fired the fucking thing. I got pissed as and tossed it the hell knows where. Our first assault group managed to sprint to their trenches and get in almost without interference. But when the enemy realized what we were doing, especially that senior one, he figured out we were bypassing on the left flank, that we were bypassing him on the left flank. He opened suppressive fire. The second assault group went to ground.
Що, назад?
When the second group went in and turned left and ended up on the left side, we learned that later. Benya, the guy who begged to come, got into some dense gunfight, and a machine gun round from that central senior at the position, flying chaotically, slammed into the dust cover area. Bennett didn't think long. Went shit and swapped rifles at the evac group's nearby position. Took one, handed off his, kept going. The group pushed left, cleared it, saw it was mine too, cleared it, and dug in.
Що тут?
Андрюха, далі ще одна будка є.
And we kept firing further into the tree line because 100 meters away there was another position to cut off reserves. And my group, the first that went right, cleared the dugout and moved on.
Академик, мы в тройке, уже в окопе.
There's a moment on video too where I got lucky the second time. I stand up, the guys start moving. I stand and see down the trench, straight up jumps out at us. And Kapkan and I, we open fire, exchange shots. And to my left, you can see this on the video, there's a tree or a branch, and rounds are snapping right next to us. Kapkan is there, I'm here, there's a little tree between us, and rounds are literally coming down between us. Nobody got hit, all good. Again, the theme is war roulette. Kapkan's weapon jammed, and it was serious. He showed me that the bolt stopped halfway, and he needed some time to over there to fix it. We decided to swap positions. I became number 2 behind Barber, and Kapkan took my place. And as soon as we swapped, Kapkan, who replaced me, got hit in the arm by 2 rounds. One to the shoulder, the other went through his hand, or not right through it. I don't remember, but his arm got up.
мене йди. Мене утикання, йди замість мене. Андрюха, ти куди, блядь? Давай.
Бля, где группа остальная, сука?
Ззаді вже. Пішла в іншу сторону. Триста! Трьоха!
Что? Бодя, перед тобой! Что? Ты 300?
300!
Откуда? Откуда? Академик, у нас не 300! Это поддержка!
As a medic, for me, yeah, it was a bit embarrassing. But tactics are tactics. Kapkan is sitting there yelling that he's wounded, medic, help. But I understood in that moment I was number 2 behind Barber. And my priority right then wasn't treatment. It was covering Barber. Because if I turn back to Kapkan and start putting a tourniquet on, Barber is basically alone fighting. That's not how it's done. Then the guys came up, the rest of the group.
Пацаны, капкан 300.
Двох до вас сказав. Я до вас 300, я 300. Давай, вийдеш там?
Там слева контакт.
Є. Все, пропусти мене, братан. Сука. Пролазь. Уйти можеш? Тебе уводить.
Там закрывает.
А,
Еще есть люди?
не можу, там 4
Там
щас.
кто, блядь? Там огонь ведется.
We started pushing forward little by little and ran into the fact that the passage a bit further at the turn was mined. Barber had to crawl up and cut some wires there. Honestly, I didn't climb in there. He handled it himself.
Блядь, на поддержку нужна.
Заходимо.
Что? Мне рация просто, что? Хорошо. Аккуратно.
The senior, this guy, he really held on. He was the only one who put up that kind of hard resistance and forced us to grind it out. And honestly, this was a big mistake on our part. And again, we were lucky the didn't react, because we sat in that sector way too long. In this kind of fight, the faster and more dynamic you act, the higher your chances of surviving and of the operation succeeding overall. Despite our fire, the enemy still managed to suppress our second assault group and force it to stop. And that was dangerous because of time. Time is everything. We had to do everything fast. Since we couldn't suppress them with machine gun fire, we decided to work them with an FPV. Back then, it wasn't a very common weapon yet, especially on calm sectors. That was when FPVs were just starting to develop. While we were bogged down, I got on the radio with the battalion commander. He gave the order to my crew. I was communicating directly with him. And he gave the go to my FPV team. My crew flew in, and the FPV smashed that senior After that, chaos started on the enemy side. They were disoriented and they were already wounded inside. The enemy machine gunner was destroyed by the FPV strike, which allowed the guys to keep moving. Because by then, we were running low on ammo and had to resupply. For a while, we dropped out of the fight.
Отам на краю. Можна було туди щось навести? Сам.
Вони готові всі відходити, один розскочив туди на дорожку, а всі решта стоять.
Серега, хуярь по краю посадку. Пустой.
Не знаю.
Я на грач по БК.
At the far position, 3 of them climbed out of the dugout and ran.
Ні. Що?
Достань мені гранату.
Подожди, я піднім перезарядку.
Двигайся, там нема нікого, сказали. Рухаємось, рухаємось.
Сейчас, смотри. Что?
Короче. В сторону чого?
Група нахуй.
Попіздили. Що, йде? За вами. Бери, хай буде в тебе. Зараз що таке, я контролю. Давай.
Блять, перекройся, что ты за хуйню.
We cleared that last dugout, and that was basically it. There was also a funny moment later. We joked about it with Barber. There was another firing position between sectors.
Направо закинь.
Barber decided to toss a grenade, and it bounced off a tree and rolled right back under our feet. We both dropped, it detonated, we got up and kept moving. Later we joked it was 1-1 because the first bad grenade was mine, the second was his. I said next time let it be some RPGs or something. Something like that.
Твою мать, нахуй!
Нормально? Нормально?
Да, Андрюха. Живой? Сиди, прикольно. Еще один. Тихо, справа смотри.
Академік, Хан, прийом. Повторяй, кажи, я тебе чую. Коротше, все таке одіяло.
На зв'язку, Волтер. Шепард на зв'язку.
А? Кинь мені сюди, я підніму. Видай. Ні, F. Блядь, перекрита вся хуйня. Тобто... Ніхуя не бачу. Там все таке одіяло не закрите, не видно, куди проходять.
Опер. Шепард. Вийди Шепарда на зв'язок.
Андрій, гранат.
Прямо.
After that, the assault wasn't difficult. We just moved down the trench, and Barber finished off one wounded. The rest, as we later found out, ran from the position. That's normal. That senior was still trying to say something to Barber. Apollon was Barber's best friend, so Barber sent him where he belonged without a word.
Що?
Законтролив.
Що?
Є ще там? Ще одна. Тут, коротше, прямо вход в цю. Зараз спробую туди.
Давай. Бля, подожди, я запутался. Снизь, блядь, это, слезь. Вниз нахуй слезь.
Там все, там чисто.
Ну, блиндаж остался.
А?
Блиндаж остался.
Який? Цей?
Да, мы что до конца не зачистили его.
Хто тут ззаді ще в нас є?
Хан и
Я тут звідси не бачу, там диму, треба, щоб вийшов, поняв?
Это разоружение. Смотри.
Да.
Занимай тут позицию. Мы пойдем с Ханом чистить дальше, вот тут блиндаж дочищать, понял? Там дальше все, нету больше блиндажа, это конец.
Да, викид.
Все, мы дочищаем блиндаж.
Я Андрюха, стій. Я перевірю, що там всередині. В цій хуйні.
Давай еще одну. Давай еще одну туда кинем.
У мене є ще?
У меня есть.
Давай.
Эвка. Я бабаху оставлю на этот.
Давай. Эвку на всякий пожарний.
У тебя рация была?
А?
Попал?
Андрюха пішов. Андрюха, тут чисто.
Плюс, занимай тут позицию. Контроль железку, пытайся.
Я залазю всередину сюди.
Если ты сможешь слева контролить. Блядь, слева можешь контролить? Слева можешь контролить?
Хіба що звідси давай я буду.
Давай, лучше здесь. БК он у пидора еще возьмет. Хан! Кто с тобой еще там?
Я пішов, остальних покупки.
Блиндаж этот остался.
Не чую.
When I pulled back to garage to resupply ammo, we got info that the enemy was moving toward us, so we had to be ready to meet them. From Harach, I was hammering the approach across.
Нашу сторону підають двигайся по траншею, готовності встретить. Увага, підкріплення, можете насипати сюди по дорозі, насипати по дорозі, помагайте.
Працюю з Грача в сторону Железки.
Сюди на центр, я покажу, куди
Turned out that the enemy didn't want to just give up the position, but they made a fatal mistake. The battalion provided us with their fire assets. They had pre-aimed targets on possible approaches. About 5 or 6 enemy troops moved up to 6. The first 120 missed, and after that, the first 120, the enemy bunched up, and the second one didn't just kill them, it tore them apart. Mortar fire smashed that group. There was a direct hit. They screwed up. They were all in one group. Maybe they were forced together. They were bunched in a small tree line, and a direct hit from a 120 stopped their movement toward us. Boots, legs flying everywhere, ripped in half. That was it. Their support group never reached us.
Наш?
Да.
There were wounded, and I started moving back through the trench to find casualties and provide aid.
Ты целый? Спина! Спина, блядь! Откатываемся, надо его забрать!
Эй, ты живой, брат! Ёба, еще раз! Ёб
Блядь!
Другий лісі, походу!
Сука! У нас 300, выйди на рации! Бодя, я пошел к раненому. У тебя связь есть?
Водь! Я пойди до мене. Будемо зачищати ногу.
Сука.
So, one of the battalion recon guys was wounded there. His injury was interesting, as cynical as it sounds, but unusual regardless.
Так, что там?
300-й і 200-й.
Кто?
Калаш 300 и ваш 200, скорее всего. Лежить.
Запусти. Помогли ему?
У Щирова автомату пизда.
Да, в мене пізда автомат.
И помогли 200-му?
Не,
Твою мать, нахуй.
Калаш.
Куди попало? Куди попало?
Так, пацаны, держим дальше сектор.
В спину попало.
У него спина.
Сука. Брат, что у тебя?
Вот туда.
Вижу. Вижу, сейчас помогу.
Нам надо там.
Нас нормально. Братан. Вижу. Так, брат, осторожно.
Забери автомат.
Братан, как у тебя с дыханием? Я знаю. Как с дыханием? Как с дыханием? А?
Хуёво.
Дышится плохо, да? Пацаны, контроль. Кто там прямо дальше, наш или нет?
Где? Сзади меня никого наших нету.
Братья, мне нужно твой броник срезать.
Shepard stayed calm and in control of the situation. He set security, ran evac, basically worked at least at a platoon commander level.
Евакуація.
Быстрее, парни. Блядь, пулемет сразу сектор забирай. Сектор забирай. Спина подсекла пневмоторакс. Кто медик, блядь? Кто медик принимающий? Пневмоторакс.
Можеш надати?
Я уже все сделал, блядь, отнесите просто его. Спина, правый бок. Запомнили? Информацию передайте. Спина, правый бок, остальное вроде нет.
За руки, за ноги.
Разложи.
Продублируйте ширму. Хто нам визиває мене?
And later, I came up and saw Kuzya. He was already dead. Well, not immediately. There were still faint signs of life. But during assessment, it was clear in the video. Head wound, probably fragment. Massive brain injury. Nothing could be done. That's it.
Пацаны, готовьте следующую. Воу, следующая группа эвакуации должна быть готова уже, пусть возвращается. Он сбился.
Тут, блядь, бери!
Что там?
Возьми нормально!
Где раненый еще один?
Возьми нормально, пацаны, ту сторону!
А?
Вон, напевно.
Он?
Я не знаю,
Братик, ты живой? Эй, братан, ты живой? Сука, прикрой меня там. Ствол туда поставь, блядь, и прикрой меня там. Ты тоже ляг нормально на позицию. Ты ляг, блядь. Разбейте сектора, нормально сядьте. Ну все. Мне на 200. Это что? Я тебя подпизу нахуй. Сука.
The question came up about evacuating the dead, because priority, first of all, was the wounded from the battle. Kalash was hit by fragments. Kuzya, Sanya died. Even though during planning, we placed him at a maximum, that he would be providing additional suppressive fire, and the boys would take the focus on themselves.
Академик Шепарду на зв'язок. Блять, Кузя 200 нахуй. Пизда. Сука. Академик Шепарду на зв'язок. Окопы зачистили. Кузя 200, нужна эвакуация для него.
Kuzya was calm, kind-spirited, never offended anyone. That was, for me, at that time, a heavy loss for me. My first soldier, who through some stupidity was killed. This impacted on me a little bit. As a commanding officer, even though in the planning of the operation, I took into account maximally everything, even for the most conditions, recon of the situation, to avoid, in any scenario, any decision that would result in casualties. And that, in 120 mine, I'll probably remember it my whole life. The mine that suddenly took him. In the planning, he was supposed to be behind. His whole role was supposed to suppress fire to the side. But, sadly, he died a warrior in battle. And he might have felt it the day before he talked to his girlfriend and gave her passwords, access to his accounts, and left his watch, which was gifted to him, the one he got for excellent service. Kuzya, I don't know. I've rarely met such kind people in my life, like Kuzya. Just like that. Anything that's needed, he'd help with anything. Everyone came to him. You could ask him anything. Later, the guys said they talked to him in the evening. They said he felt it was his last assault. He told this to his family. But he never told any of us. He told maybe one or two people that he's a little nervous, shitty feeling he had. But he just went. He went there unafraid and fought. Badass. He was so proud to serve in recon, told everyone about this. And yet, sadly, we couldn't have saved him from that f***ing mine. The commander took it the hardest. In total, in that moment, what saved us is that we were a team. We were, first of all, motivated, united, all like one. Before assaults, before any tasks, we often joked about this topic. Somebody can ask for a friend, can I borrow some money? They'll die anyway, so I don't have to pay it back. This was the atmosphere in the platoon. and it went good. And so our reaction was simple. All we ever wanted was revenge. We still do. And we're still in line, still working 24/7 to reduce the number of... According to the plan, we were the forward assault group. Once everything was done, a group from an adjacent unit came in. They were supposed to consolidate as fresh forces, and we were to pull out. They dig in, build up manpower and assets, repel possible counterattacks. Academic gave the order for us to disengage. I gave the order for people to pull back in pairs. In fact, Barber and I were the last ones out, carrying one wounded guy.
Пацани, поможіть йому закинути, сука, 300-го! Давай, за мене вчіпишся. Нога, блядь! Давай.
Не, вот, сядь, как я. Руку, понял?
На мене.
Не на тебя, мы вдвоем несем. Я под левую руку, ты под правую.
Блядь, поможіть нам! Давай, раз, два. Давай.
There's one thing I've seen more than once in this war, and that's a person's character. If we go back to the recon by fire story, when Apollon was wounded, his right arm was literally hanging on muscle. Also, there was a hit in the pelvic area. Serious wounds. Painful to move with. But the guy crawled out himself, walked where he could. He did well. That's character. He understood that saving his own life also depended on him. Here another guy took one fragment to the knee. He laid down and basically said, "That's it, carry me." Honestly, I didn't get that, because carrying means 4 people clustered around one wounded. And this was also along that corridor, blown by the Mon. Mines were still there. If one of those 4 hits a mine, the others almost certainly get hit too. But they carried him out anyway. The consolidation group moved in, relieved our guys, and took the position. We rolled back and waited in our dugouts.
Ні, нас команда виходити на по 200 забирати. Я не спорю. Поки тихо, за нами зараз дрон і ми попіздили.
At some point, after we had already disengaged, an order came down. All our guys had pulled back from the 101st position. Kuzya's body had to be recovered. By the way, this is a really important thing. When a commander makes it a principle not to leave fallen bodies behind, when they actually bring people back so they can be buried properly, honored, so families can say goodbye, that earns huge respect.
Гай! Хорошо, молодець. Дивися тут осторожно, бо тут БМН йобнутись. Чорних. Отут біля мене. Пацаки тут свої, забираємо 200. Кузечка, блядь. Сука, братик. Ось тут дивись, зараз ложу його сюди. Закріпляємо.
I remember sitting with Benya when the order came in. Barber went, and Barber asked for someone to go with him, because Kuzya wasn't a light guy. He was a solid one. We had to recover his body. Benya didn't really want to go, but he understood it had to be done, so he went.
Кузя, блядь. А! Все, ми пішли, пацик.
And when they were pulling Kuzya's body out, Benya hit a mine.
Беня 300! Посилайте людей до мене, блядь! Нога? Чекай.
Яйцем пизда, да?
As a result, he had several injuries to his lower limbs and genitals, and what killed him was the abdominal wound. This is something I often tell soldiers without experience. You need abdominal and groin protection. For cases exactly like this, if fragments fly upward even slightly, that protection gives you at least some chance of not taking it into the abdomen. In field conditions, abdominal wounds very often end critically. Barber came up on the radio. Benya wounded, Benya wounded. We sent in an evac group. Barber dragged Benya as far as he could. The evac group took over. Barber took Kuzya onto himself, stripped all the gear off him, and carried Kuzya on his back to our position. So if anything went wrong, we could bring our guy home. At that time, Benya already had internal bleeding, starting to delirium. We were around him, but the enemy was pissed that we picked him up. And the enemy kept hammering us with everything they had. 152s, 120s, RPGs, grenade launchers, everything. They were firing so hard. The amount of people we had to spread people out. We ended up with Kalash wounded, Kuzya killed, Benya, and Romchik wounded. Romchik took hits to the arms, but it was okay. He said, "Commander, I'm wounded," and showed me his arm. I asked, "Can you walk?" He said, "Yes." I told him, "When you're in, ping me so I know you made it." It was all fast and intense. We learned from experience it has to be fast. He made it, pinged me, and we kept working. Benya had a basic plate carrier, no additional protection. Fragment to the belly, they carried him for about 30 minutes. From the injury site, they brought him to me. So we had one position, a main position from which we would go into an assault, and a second position. I was set up on the second position behind the assault line, receiving wounded, giving whatever help I could, then passing them to the next position further back to evacuation.
Нормально? Рассказываешь.
They brought Benya to me after about 30 to 40 minutes. He lasted another 30 minutes with me, and that was it. I didn't know Benya very well, but he was that street guy. If there was chaos, Benya had to f***ing be there. He kept pushing, saying, "Commander, take me with you. I'm getting tired of this driver bullshit. Take me to the shitstorm." Honestly, I don't know. How it works, some believe, some don't, but I had a feeling about him. He loved talking. He could just meet someone and right away could find a common language, easy to connect with. He told me he had 2 kids waiting at home. I remember thinking, man, God don't let this guy die. He's got 2 kids at home. We talked with the battalion commander about leaving him behind, but his pressure, his drive, it won out. Enthusiasm, desire to fight. And that's how it happened. Also, it's a question of war roulette. He just didn't win that round. Played, and didn't win. That day, total casualties, if I remember right, were 11 wounded. Barber died much later. This was Chasiv Yar. 2024. We were supposed to rotate, but in June. But in April, the order came. Move is necessary now, because everything is need to regain lost positions. When we arrived into the area, we went straight from wheels into assault. By this time, it was like black and white. Back in 23, the sector was stable. We could plan, prep, recon by fire. Everything was on point. In Chasiv Yar, it was straight in. Tasks were assigned. Tasks were urgent, needed to be done yesterday, because the enemy was assaulting hard. The enemy was strong, because this was the 98th Airborne Division. And it was loaded with heavy firepower. And it was pressing hard. There we were in everything. Assault, consolidation, evac, all on our selves. Everything held together because of the team we'd built. And, unfortunately, the thing I regret most, the moment that when we were pulling guys out, I didn't find any way how to fucking get Barber out of there. We got almost everyone. Barber and a couple others were left. Zhenya was wounded, so I pulled him out. Barber stayed. He took a hit. Plates, neck, everything. The soul of our team, a star, call him what you want. He was a man with balls, not just big, but truly massive. He always went first. No fear of anything, like a tank. What I mean like a tank, in that moment, I weighed over 90 kilos. Trained hard. Barber was lean, wired, carried 1.5 times my ammo load. Sometimes, in different situations, I thought I was done. And Barber didn't give a shit. He was just a machine. Fearless. The man always completing tasks. Always was very bright. Honest. For the collective. To be precise, for the team. Losing him was massive. He was the backbone. Even now, people who've transferred from that group or left the army, he was just a very special individual. He was one of the true heroes, and the memory of him keeps us together. He was always first, wanted to be first, and he was first. And he was a motivator. Always like, come on, let's go. Who's there? That's how he was. Always cheerful. Always driven. Brave man. Even when I heard he was wounded, to the end, I knew and believed that he would pull through, strong spirit. I believed he'd make it, he'll recover, he'll be okay. It hit us hard. In this impossible evacuation, through this piece of shit road, 5 kilometers through absolute hell, the boys were able to evacuate Bodya. We organized evac, that's it. Got him to the stabilization point. Everything seemed okay. He got out of the vehicle himself, moved from one stretcher to another, but in the hospital he fell into a coma. We waited so hard for him to pull out, but sadly he didn't. I keep asking myself what I could have done differently to stop this. And Barber left our ranks, but he's always with us. The fight continues, and revenge will reach everyone who stepped onto our land.